Hey everyone, Internet PCS Book Reader here. Today I want to talk about All You Need Is Skill by hiroshi sakurazaka, ryosuke takeuchi, and takeshi obata. If you watch the movie Edge of Tomorrow, starring everybody's favorite Scientologist Tom Cruise, to grossly oversimplify the movie, it's about Tom Cruise's character who is stuck in not only a war where he'll had to fight against alien monster using a suit of mechanical armor, but also stuck in a loop where he repeat a certain death where he got killed over and over again. That movie is based on this manga that is based on this light novel. I've heard that the movie is better, but I have always wanted to see how different it is myself, so when I saw the book on the bookstore, I took it so I can finally do it. The book itself started with cover pages showing the dead main character. Then he woke up on his bed thinking that it was some kind of a bad dream. Immediately after that, we got a series of exposition dumps. He saw soldier going to war as a unit called Jacket Soldier. The war they're in is against alien called Mimic, not the usual Dungeon and Dragon Mimic. It's just the questionable naming sense this manga have along with Jacket Soldier. They're fighting the aliens with armor that can only be made in Japan, and they're also helped by a famous unit from US under someone named Rita Frataski, who is an absurdly scrawny looking woman, especially with this panel where she's surrounded by muscle dudes looking like parody. But time moves on and he was sent to war along with his comrades. He died of course, then got sent back to the bed he woke up previously, finally realizing that his first death is not a dream, but it is him dying. He tried to run away so he doesn't have to die on the battlefield again, but a mimic was in the civilian area and he died again because of it and got sent back again. He then tried unaliving himself to test things and got sent back again to the bed when he finally decided that he'll try to get out of this loop by winning the battle with his newfound power. The art by Takeshi Obata is unquestionably godly, of course. Takeshi Obata is a manga artist that usually works with another writer. So his best work are Hikaru no Go, Death Note, and Bakuman that are from his partnership with Yumi Hota and Sugumi Oba. But he also worked in some very overtly edgy work that is also due to his partnership with other authors, Ralgat for the kid JRPG game Blue Dragon, Ouroboros that is his work with Nishio Ishin, and his latest work with Sugumi Oba, Platinum M, are all work that are too edgy for their own good that it makes them comparable to the live adaptation of A Devilman. And unfortunately for us, this manga goes down to the overly edgy route of Ralgat instead of some of his better works. The manga is trying so hard to make the main character look like the cool badass guy, but mostly it doesn't really work and as a result it backfired. So instead of making him feel cool like Jay-Z for example, he kinda look like Chad Hanks, which is lame instead. He feels like he's a person that is trying too hard to act like the main character. He even started saying things like, I had become a machine with blood instead of oil, a veteran who bent the war to my will. It definitely had some main character syndrome. It's so cringe. Overall, the manga just took itself too seriously while having all this very cringy decision and unresolved plot, and because there doesn't seem to be any self-awareness to how badly written it is, everything else that usually we ignore in manga because we enjoy the story just stands out more as something bad. The unnecessary fan service, the overly graphic scenes, the main character that feels like the guy who have played too many first-person shooter and thinks he's been through many wars himself. There's also a lot of scene in this short manga that somehow managed to feel like filler. There's a story where the main character feels depressed in the lunch area, and for some reason, for the first time ever, a guy pick a fight with him. The main character doesn't fight back. It's not that it's less cool that he doesn't fight back, it's just the reason he doesn't want to fight back is he did not want it to become a problem later. First of all, how do we know that it'll be a problem later if this is the first time this random guy pick a fight with him? And secondly, what later? This is almost his 100th look or so. Everything about this scene is so random already, then after he got punched and woke up, he suddenly got a sex offer from the sexy lunch lady which he declined. Nothing about this entire scene makes sense. I think it's just there to make the main character look cool, which don't ask me which part of that makes him look cool because it's just so lame. And this scene also feels repetitive because we already got the same decision just a few pages ago about what he wanted to do in the war using his time loop. The story continues with this kind of vibe with him becoming stronger as a soldier until he finally got noticed by the main girl that's been lurking in the background so far, Rita. We even got a special tragic background for her. Before she was a soldier, she was just a normal girl, but the mimic killed her whole family, so she decided to become a soldier, and that's when she also somehow got stuck in the time loop like our main character in the past. Long story short, during this loop, she found out how to win the war by finding a few specific aliens to kill and end the loop. After that, she stayed as an asset to the military by becoming some kind of an ace pilot. There's also hints that the military did some research on her, but this plot doesn't really go nowhere. I guess the author just hope everyone forget about the exposition. Then the main character introduced himself to Rita, and by the magic of being just the main character, they fall in love, and then the story hinted that they had sex, despite previously the main character going, "No, sex, bad, me, war," previously. This manga can even follow through its own weird logic. As you might have guessed, I don't really like the manga so far. There are a few good concepts, but the execution is so bad, especially if you read it after watching the movie. The movie lessens some of the overly edgy aspect of the manga with a lot of humor. I also like in the humor, especially in the various way Tom Cruise died in the movie. By making it more comedic, it tries the suspense of disbelief about the situation further than even the manga drawing did. And not only that, but it also managed to show and not tell the various way that infiltration finally works. And he can go into the building he wanted. Well, in the manga, the building infiltration was just a series of exposition. In 3 minutes 2.04 seconds, this guard will look right, scratch on it in his left ass. I have 2.3 seconds to bypass him. It had so much less impact and there's no guard scratching his ass. The manga is not that good. And by changing the loop to have a limit in the movie not only raises the stake of death and giving it a high risk factor, but also make the character counting the number of retry by writing it on his hands, more than just something they did for the sake of making it feels like the character has gone through so much. Meanwhile, the ending in the manga did not make much sense. The girl suddenly tried to kill the main guy because she's now one of them alien antennas, so they had to kill each other in order for the war to be finished. How did she know that? There were no indication of it, and it came out of nowhere. Did she just guess and just happened to be right? Because before the main character got into the loop, the exposition was very clear that she's been winning the war without using time loop except the first one. She did not need the time loop to win the war, and if we just accept the logic that their brain itself become part of the alien brain back out to time loop, then they should both be dead before the war can be won without the alien looping ability activating. Not just one of them. It makes so little sense that it feels like it's just trying to force the plot to go into tragedy just for the sake of having a tragedy, so the main character will have a reason to go on fighting in the war. It feels like fridging, the infamous trope name that's resulted from Green Lantern comic killing a character and putting her on the fridge just to stretch the story even further. Well, I know the movie can make it feel like plot convenience to get a good ending, but it's so much less lazier compared to having fridging as an ending. We even got a giant plot hole because of this, since the main character definitely killed her with a unique weapon that only the two of them can use, with even her body still intact beside those wounds because the author wanted to put in a dead body as a fan service. It makes the whole world so dumb. It's something so obvious as checking the death of your ace pilot was just struck like that. Honestly, besides Takeshi Obata Goliath and some cool concept that is not well executed in the manga, I don't think there's anything worth that much unless you're such a big fan of Takeshi Obata or the movie, or you're still in your edgy teenager phase. I'd rather suggest rewatching the movie instead of reading its source manga. I give this a 1.75. What do you think? Are you gonna read it? Did I miss anything? Leave your thoughts in the comment below and subscribe to the channel. That's about it.